What's up, guys? I'm Laura with Reading in Bed, and today I'm just going to do a really quick wrap up on the short story advent calendar. I guess I should have had this ready, and it's all coming apart. Anyways, this is it. So if you guys watch my daily videos in December, thank you, first of all. I know there were at least 3 of you who were watching every day, because sometimes I would hear if I didn't upload a video in the morning, I'd get questions about where it was. So that was kind of neat. And the kids really enjoyed it, and yeah, it's great. I go back and rewatch them too. It's nice to have kind of that record of what life was like during December of different years. So I'll definitely keep doing it. But I did want to just recap my top 5 stories. So there were 25 stories in the collection. I felt like this year was even stronger than last year. It was a really nice, varied collection of stories. And I really liked, well, I'm spoiling, I liked the design this year a little better too. Not that last year was bad. They were both really good. So kudos to Natalie Olson on the design of the box and the design of each of the booklets. The new seals that have perforations, excellent. And thanks to Michael Hinkston too. He's the editor, for sharing the videos and sponsoring the giveaway and all that stuff. So it was a really good year, basically. So I'm going to go through my favorite stories. I've got kind of a top 5 and a bonus, and these are in order, so we'll build up to my favorite. So I'm going to start right here with number 3. So this was Just Like Us by Vanessa, and this was an early favorite, obviously, 3rd day, and it kind of kept its spot for a good 10 days. I don't think I have any other ones in here that are... yeah, these are all, like all the other ones are kind of later on in the collection. So this was a coming of age story. It was about a mother and a daughter who were kind of living, you know, hand to mouth, living in an RV park, that kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, this is the kind of story I really like. I think I compared it to The Shore Girl by Frank Himmel, which is a favorite kind of coming of age type story about a teenage girl. And if you listen to the podcast Other People with Brad Listy, which if you don't, you should, she's the guest this week. I just started listening to it. It's like 82 minutes long, so it takes me like days and days to get through. But Other People is one of those rare podcasts where it's like a writer talking to other writers that I don't find totally boring and pretentious. Usually my bookish podcasts are readers talking about reading. Typically the ones where it's writers talking about writing with other writers are like, okay. But this one's really good. Like, even if I have no clue who the author is, the conversations are always interesting. So that's Other People. I'll put a link down below. Next is number 13. So this is Obscure Objects by Carolyn Adderson. This is one of the longer stories, and this was the one... where like the story kind of changes throughout, not explaining it very well, but it's about a woman and her friend, but the details about the friend change every few pages. It's like on one page she has 2 sons, and then she has 2 daughters, and sometimes she's Jewish and sometimes she's Asian, and but it's very subtle. Like, you notice it, but it's so subtle that you question yourself. I did anyway. I'm like, did I just assume it was 2 boys because I have 2 boys and I'm not reading very carefully, or what's going on here? So it's like kind of confusing and disorienting, but in a way that is interesting, and I'm still thinking about for many days after December 13th. And I think, yeah, there's like a one-liner in here too. Yeah, I just flipped right to it. That just it's crazy. I didn't talk about it in my review, and I won't here either in case you end up reading this, but the writing, it's really the quality of the writing. A lesser writer would not have been able to pull something experimental like this off, so it was really good. Coming in at number 3, I've got story number 22, which was At Christmas Time by Anton Chekhov. You know, what can I say? There were 2, I think, classic stories in this year's collection. They were both great, but this one, like, it's short, it's tragic, it's I don't know, I mean, what can you say? This guy's known for his short stories, and it shows. It's just like a scene out of someone's life, and it's just so affecting and so touching without being over the top in any way whatsoever. It's like completely subtle and crushing, and it's awesome. So anyways, that's Anton Chekhov's At Christmas Time. My number 2 favorite story, Babies on Fire by Missy Marston. So this is about a menopausal woman who goes to a rock concert and ends up rocking out, basically. And yeah, I love it for the portrayal of an older woman, you know, who still has a sex life, is a sexual person, and it's not like weird, and it's not something to laugh at. It just is. And I like this one so much that I finally picked up her novel, The Love Monster, which someone recommended to me years ago, and I've just like had it on my TBR and didn't get it. Now I've got it, so I'm really excited to read it. And my number 1 favorite story, probably not surprising if you watched my daily videos at all, is story number 14, which is Blue Light, Red Light by J. Robert Lennon. See, this is the only one, I think, where I made any kind of notations right in the story. And the notation I made is incarnations of burned children, but less life-rooting. So Incarnations of Burned Children is a short story by David Foster Wallace, which did like literally ruin my life for a number of years. And this story did remind me of it, but it's instead of like crushing my heart and soul at the end, it gave me, you know, a little bit of hope, a little bit of something. But this was a story about a little boy who sees something he shouldn't have seen on TV, and you know, kind of develops a complex about it, and you know, he's just trying to deal with it, and his parents don't understand, and it's, oh, I mean, you know, I've got a 7-year-old son who is very sensitive, and so, you know, some of it was like the personal relation, but it was also just the structure of the story and the way, I mean, it was a very emotional story, but I didn't feel like it was manipulative, which sometimes I do find with especially stories about little kids and stuff in danger. So I really love this, and I've kind of looked at this author's books. He's been writing novels since 1997. He's got a ton of them, and his earlier novels are actually very difficult to find though, so I think I might pre-order his new one, and I'll put some details about that below. So that was my favorite of the collection, and I do just have one more to highlight. This is just sort of a bonus one that I'm going to throw in. This is story number 23, The Lunacy of Gumbo by Padgett Powell. So this is just like a really weird story about gumbo, and you know, how it can kind of change your life. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd call it my favorite, but it was really fun to read, and I did end up going out and having some gumbo, I think like well, not the next day because that was Christmas Eve, but very soon afterwards. It didn't have squirrel in it though. This one did. So anyways, that's my wrap up on this year's short story advent calendar. Thanks so much for watching. If you watched all my daily videos and left comments and stuff, it's so much fun. I'll be back in 11 months time, so stay tuned.